7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the May 17th, 2011 meeting to order. This is the regular board meeting number 3. We were going to have the pastor of the New Haven Baptist Church could not make it tonight, so I'm going to ask Shane Pardue to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Check, check. All right, pray with me. Dear Lord, just thank you for this time for us all to get together and weigh out the decisions that we have for tonight that you've laid out for us. Just pray that you guide our decisions and that we do what's best for the city, and that we use what we've researched and just vote on what we feel our conscience should bring us to. Just thank you for the opportunity to pray here at our public gathering. And we just thank you for what you're doing in our city, and we love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Go ahead and pray, or pledge allegiance. First time I've ever done this, by the way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
I'd like to ask a member of the Public Works Department to please come forward. We have a proclamation tonight. Whereas the public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of the understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of our public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection, and whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on the quality and effectiveness of these operations, which are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of our public works professionals, and whereas the efficiency of our qualified and dedicated public works departments are materially influenced by the citizens' attitude and understanding of the importance of the work of our crews perform, and therefore I, Jim Azure, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Raytown, Missouri, do hereby proclaim this week, May 15th to 21st, 2011, as Public Works Week. I think it's very important that the citizens of our community be aware not just of the dedication that they have towards City Hall, but they're doing it for the public's interests, to make sure that the City of Raytown is a city that we're all proud of. And I can say for the Board of Aldermen and myself, we are proud of the staff that we have here at City Hall, who not just in times of snowstorms, but all the other little services that we don't normally see day by day, that they're out there in the field making sure that our public works projects and these little potholes in the streets, stormwater problems, the list goes on, that they are dedicated to make this city a better city. Thank you very much. You want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you for Mayor Pro Tem Azure for recognizing the work that myself and all the members of Public Works and through the support of other departments in the city go to try to support the citizens.
Once again, thank you. I'd like to have a member of the EMS department please come forward. We have a second proclamation tonight. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical service systems consist of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical service team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of the emergency medical services provides by designating Emergency Medical Service Week. Now, therefore, I, Jim Azure, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Raytown, Missouri, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week May 15th to 21st, 2011, as Emergency Medical Services Week. Would like to invite all the people in Raytown to participate in whatever appropriate programs or ceremonies that we may have this week in recognition of the work that they do to keep Raytown safe. Public safety is and always will be the #1 priority of the City of Raytown. And once again, the Board of Aldermen and myself are especially proud of the team that we have here in Raytown, knowing that we have probably the quickest, if not among the very fastest response in all the metropolitan area due to the highly skilled staff that we have and the time and effort that we have to create the best facilities possible. So, Matt, thank you very much for the job you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to say a few things. I think it's pretty neat that this week, which has been a staple for decades now for EMS and the industry, is shared by Public Works. I can tell you, having the experience of the last several years of fun winter incidents, that they've made our lives tremendously easier in terms of how we get to emergency calls. Their work this last winter, again, I thank them tremendously for. I also thank the board and Mayor Pro Tem Azure for this proclamation. We are a successful service, and I'm very proud to say that it's because I share a passion with my staff for this industry and the people that we serve. And I accept this proclamation with gratitude on their behalf and in their name. In addition, I feel it would be remiss if I did not take an opportunity to share some gratitude with other partners that we have in this community. The police department, and in particular our dispatchers, who are the very first line of our work. Often thankless, they provide a great service to us, as well as the rest of the police department. In addition to that, our fire department is an outstanding partner and has been for years, helping us with additional manpower and resources when we need it the most. So I thank them both, as well as I thank this board for the time. In terms of special events that we're going to have in the near future during EMS Week, we've chose to dedicate our efforts into a blood drive, in which will take place next Friday, actually, or Friday, May 20th, from 1 to 5 p.m. We would absolutely love to see the Board of Aldermen and the Mayor and the Mayor Pro Tem, as well as city staff, to participate in this event. We have had very good success getting blood to the community blood bank in the past, and we look forward to continuing it. Again, I appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. At this time, I would like Jim Schaap, the chair of the Special Sales Tax Citizens Review Committee, to come forward for a report card presentation. Is he here tonight? Jim here tonight? Okay. I guess I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Alderman Kramer.
Here.
Alderman Pardue.
Here.
Alderman Hamilton.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
Alderman Melson.
Here.
Alderman Ertz.
Here.
Alderman Van Buskert.
Here.
Alderman Mock.
Here.
Alderman Lightfoot.
Here.
Alderman Azier.
Here. At this time, we'll ask public comments to come forward. You'll be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Unless you're speaking for a group, you'll have 10 minutes. First person we have on the list is Evelyn Anderson.
Across the street from my house, and I want to say that I have a complaint against the police department in that incident. They never once came and knocked on any of our doors and let us know the incident was happening. I found out from Johnny Rollins on the helicopter for Channel 9. I was watching Good Morning America, and they broke into the TV and said that there was an incident. They didn't know exactly where it was happening at first. And then when they showed the scene from the helicopter, I went, oh my God, that's the apartment across the street from me. If I hadn't been watching the television, I would have backed out of my driveway and just tried to go to work and been told by the police I couldn't because my street was blocked off. And then I had to go to the police that had the street blocked off to the north of me and ask him twice when I could go to work. And then he came and knocked on my door and let me know when I could go to work. I did call the Raytown Police Department, and I talked to a lieutenant. I don't remember his name. I should have written it down, but I thought I would remember. But, you know, senior citizens have memory problems. Anyway, he did tell me, well, the person that they arrested was not armed. And I said, well, you didn't know that till you arrested him. So, Ms. Melson, I'm in your ward. I would like for you to look into that for me, please, and I will be contacting you to see what you found out. Also, I was interviewed by Brenda Washington, because she was right behind the policeman when he came and knocked on my door. And before she turned the camera on, she said that she had talked to the neighbors behind that building, and they had told her that, oh yes, that neighborhood has a lot of problems. There's big gang activity going on in that neighborhood. And when I talked to the lieutenant, he wouldn't give me any answers. And I would like for you to find out for me, please. I'm single. I'm close to retirement. I would like to know if there's any gang activity going on in that neighborhood. And because I'm really worried and I'm scared to live there. And that's all I have to say. But I would like for you to get back with me if you can, please.
All right, Evelyn, you have two aldermen. Also, Ms. White is your alderman too.
Oh, okay.
Is it okay with you if I give them your telephone number?
I have no problem at all.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you very much.
After the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Frank Striblich. Is that Junior? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I didn't plan on being here today. First of all, it's a pleasure being here, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Alderman. And I am also I wasn't aware of the opportunity that I have here to help you celebrate the Public Works Week. And in my opinion, your Public Works Department, when they're out there in the streets, they do a pretty good job. I'd like to bring to your attention this evening a problem that I have on 82nd Street, which I've communicated with my two aldermen, Mr. Van Buskert and Mr. Ertz. Last summer they came to the scene, and I have a drain. It's a ditch problem, and there's my neighbor adjacent to me has a problem with water going over his property because there's no ditch there, and then it runs over into my property. And if I get a rain of about over 1.5 inches or 2, I have a flood problem in my office down in my basement. Today, the crew went out and they cleaned a ditch across the street, and I asked them, I said, well, I started talking about the ditch on my side of the street, and they indicated to me, well, that's all that they were going to do. And I said, well, do you have anything lined up? And they indicated, no, they do not. I wanted to come tonight and acknowledge the fact that my alderman people have helped me. Andy Knoll has been very good at communicating with the alderman. But getting beyond that, I just I don't see where anything is being done. I think it's a communications problem. And I'm here tonight in kind of in desperation. My last stop before I'll get the shovel. I've been wanting to get the shovel and sandbags, but again, I'm at risk of trespassing on someone else's property or doing something that I shouldn't be doing as far as the city is concerned. So I need your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I know that the aldermen that are in your ward will do a good job helping you. Sometimes you need to be aware that if it deals with the budget problem, it takes a year to address it because it's not in the budget for this year. So continue working with your aldermen and your public works. Don't give up on them. We've got a great department.
Well, my aldermen have done all that they could to do it. I think it's a communications problem with the supervisor, between the supervisor and the workers. I give myself 3 minutes.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board at this time? Andy?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Board of Alder people. I wasn't going to mention it, but since basically the same topic in Public Works have come up, first I'd like to say we have a very great Public Works Department at EM, as well as Police Department. I appreciate all of their service, diligence to help the public. But the problem I'm finding with Public Works is apparently budget or communication or both. I reported to this board approximately 4 years ago, or maybe 5, that there's a hazardous, unsafe section in the 6300 block of Willow. Nothing's been done about that. The street was done with cheap overlay last summer, which was a safety hazard, health hazard, and the unsafe conditions still remain. And my question is, when is this going to be addressed, and could it be put on the forthcoming budget? Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Just step up to the podium, please, and give your name and address.
Okay, my name is Marilyn Gray. I live at 9802 East 60th Street, apartment number 5. And about a month ago, I was down at the community place called REAP, and I was sitting in my car for about 30 minutes. Well, this white truck pulled up. It was a 4x4. He had tinted windows, and I was waiting for my appointment. I got out of my car, and then, he waved at me. He was a white older male with white hair, white mustache, and white beard. Okay, so I said, well, maybe he's just a nice guy, so I waved back to him. Okay, well, when I came back out, I was in there for about an hour and a half. I came back out, he was still sitting in his truck. Then, the next day, I went to my doctor's office. I parked in the handicap. Okay, and when I got there, I just had to drop off some papers. I got there. There was no truck parked beside me. When I came back out, I saw the same truck and the same man. So I said, well, I'm going to take a picture of him. He rolled down his window. He said, why are you taking a picture of me? I said, I'm just wondering if you follow me around. He said, well, actually, I had an appointment in the doctor's office, but I only went to drop off papers, so I don't know what he did. Then he said he was sitting there doing some other stuff. He just happened to be sitting in his truck. Okay, well, recently, since then, people have been following me around, and an incident happened today as well. So I happened to see the police, Shakardi, and so I mentioned it to him, And he didn't say, well, why do you think people are following you around? He's like, where do you go? And you go on 47th and Troost? I thought that was like a strange thing for him to say to me. Why would you ask me something like that? He said, well, are people following you around in any other places? Grandview and this, that, and the other? I said, they're following me around in Raytown, and this is where I live, and I really do not appreciate being followed around like that. And there was one girl today. This is what he did. I asked him, I stopped him again. I said, okay, well, maybe I could follow you around, and since you're a police officer, maybe you could just notice something that I don't notice, you know, instead of asking me about, well, what kind of cars are they, who are they? I don't know. I only know what that one man looked like and what this other girl looked like, okay? Because I was up there on 350. I saw the police car parked across the street at Arby's. I'm like, now I know he can see something is not right up here. I get out of my car. Here come all these other cars zooming up. Oh, no. I mean, and I understand. I've been living out in this area for 10 years. I know what the traffic flow is like. You know what I'm saying? Some people might think, are you crazy? You think someone's following you around? I don't think so. So anyway, he says, well, I don't mind if you follow me around, but I'm going to have calls to make. So I said, well, okay. So I followed him. We were on Raytown Road. Then he turned right in the parking lot in Walgreens. He went behind Walgreens. Then he turned right, and he made another right, went down 67th Street. And when he was going down 67th Street, I saw this other girl that I had seen in the lot. She was driving a black vehicle, and it's the same girl because she had gotten out of her car. First she zoomed. When we were in the strip center, she zoomed down there and turned in and parked. I'm like, gee, some erratic driving. I couldn't quite understand that. So she started looking all around like that and everything. Then finally someone pulled up beside her because I pulled up between her. It was a parking space between she and I. So I pulled up right here. This other lady pulled up beside her. Then she gets out and started talking to her. Okay. So then I said, well, I'll go get some food. I went to go get some food. I parked around in the back. Now, when I happened to go in the back, there was a white truck and another truck back there, but the white truck pulled off. So I sat where the white truck was. Next thing I know, here comes this lady pulling up beside me. I'm like, okay, now really, these things cannot be a coincidence. And I guess the bottom line is, I don't appreciate it, and I wish that y'all could try to do something about it.
Okay,
Find out what's going on.
ma'am, public safety is the #1 issue with the Board of Aldermen and certainly the mayor too. Please be aware that when we invite the citizens to come in front of us to speak, as you have, that we want to be able to assist them when it is the business of the city. In this case, we do have somewhat of an independent police department. What you're asking for us to do is not part of our realm because you have an elected chief of police, and it's really that department that you should be talking to. And so I don't want to give you any false pretense that, #1, that we don't care, because we do, but secondly is this is not within our realm or the scope of what we do here. So,
well, I didn't know. I just called to see if you guys were having a meeting. They said you were having one tonight.
Absolutely.
And I did, of course, go to the police station to tell them what happened. They said, because what the police did was he told me it was okay for me to follow him. And then I did, but he came straight to the police station, you know, pulled through the gate.
Yes.
So I just went home. I said, well, let me go back down there, you know, and file a report on what happened. Well, they said I couldn't file a report. They said he wasn't there, and there was no policeman there for me to file a report. So I just said I'll be back, and I just kind of took a nap and said I just decided to come to the meeting tonight.
Well, I think it's always good to come here if you feel we can be of help. Unfortunately, this is not something that we can do anything about, so I would thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Are there any other people that would like to address the board at this time? Okay. It's time to move on to the, I'll need to back up here. It's time for committee reports. We'll start with Mr. Mock on my left.
Okay. Council on the Aging will be meeting May 19th at 4 o'clock. May 6th, there was a senior expo that was held here in the chamber. It's quite the success. Probably right at 300 people were in attendance. It's a good time for all. They gave, there's plenty of volunteers, vendors. Council on the Aging, the committee was all here. Very well organized. So I hope you can attend next year. Thanks.
Mr. Lightfoot?
Nothing new for legislative.
Ms. White, none?
Nothing new for municipal.
Alderman Melson?
The Finance Committee and actually the Municipal Committee are still in trying to discover when we'll have our next meeting, so we will keep the board posted.
Any other reports?
The Human Relations Commission has a meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m. here at the City Hall.
Thank you. We'll move on to the legislative session, and I would like to reserve my right to vote at this time. The first item is the consent agenda. Excuse me, that's not on my list here. Okay, I'm sorry. On the printed sheet, I had that guideline. I didn't have the report from the city administrator. I was following my guideline here, so Mahesh, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Board of Aldermen. Few items. Number one, I would echo what EMS Director Matt Cushman suggested regarding the community center blood drive this Friday at EMS. You can call ahead of time at 816-737-6030 for an appointment. They would also welcome walk-ins. When you do that, keep in mind there is a lot of demand for the blood because of what happened down south and everywhere else. So the blood drive and blood donation is very important and would be very helpful for the needy. Board goal-setting session is now scheduled for May 31st, 2011, with a follow-up session on June 14th, 2011. I will provide detail to the board later date. Also, to provide you an update on legislative front, we have received confirmation that the House Bill 711 and the Senate Bill 48 are approved. This action would remove the certified mailing requirement for the condition to notify customers before shutting their services off for non-payment. We just have to wait for governor's signature on these approved bills, and it is expected that governor will sign those bills in August. Because of the effort that it took, I would like to thank the Representative Tom McDonald and Noel Torpy and Gail McKinnon for their effort to move these things forward. Also, I would like to especially thank Jeremy Wilmoth, who on behalf of the city went to Jefferson City and provided testimony to the committee. And Board of Aldermen and the mayor who went to Jefferson City to lobby our effort. And as you can see, in last 3 years, in 2009, we were successful in obtaining the authority to go to the public for public safety. In 2010, we were successful in obtaining authority to impose transient tax for hotel and motel. And again, I would say in 2011, we were successful in obtaining approval from the legislature on House Bill 711. So it is a combined effort that requires a lot of players and a lot of efforts. And on behalf of city, I would like to thank everyone who was involved and getting those bills approved, which those who have experienced, it's not an easy task. It requires almost daily monitoring where the bills are and then follow up with the legislatures and the organizations that we belong, such as Missouri Municipal League, and getting their support as well. With that, I will conclude my report.
Thank you, Mahesh. I appreciate that. Once again, I apologize for missing that. I